Hello students, this is Mr. Raphael, and we're looking here at my haiku page. I want to focus your attention down here on the resources block. I tell you often that there are resources that I post for you on haiku to help you with whatever writing what we're doing. And right now you have several links here to help you. A while back I loaded the small moment models. This is where you'll find 11. This was the assignment related to 11 where you had to write certain passages from the story where specific things were occurring. My organizer for my story is available for you to look at as a model, and I recently posted story leads, and I want to focus on story leads because now that you've been thinking about your fiction story, you did some pre-writing, you put some information down on an organizer, you kind of know the central idea of your story, your main character, you have a sense of your plot. So you know you're ready to start moving to drafting. And if you're going to move to draft, the first thing you're going to have to do is write your lead. You're going to have to write the first few lines of your story, and you want to make sure that they're really effective and that they grab the reader's attention. And we're going to take a look at some story leads here to help you do that. So when you click on the link, it'll go ahead and bring up that file. So on this handout, we see what is often a typical opening or typical lead for a story. And all this basically does, it tells you what happens. It doesn't show you. I also like to call this like a summary. It summarizes what's happening in the story rather than actually showing what happened in the story. Okay, so this is the kind of thing you're going to try to avoid when you write your opening. So the main thing that happens here is the dad's yelling to his son to check out this car that landed in the lake. It should be a very exciting moment at the beginning of the story, yet this opening is very boring because all it does is summarize that. Down below, we see what would that lead look like if we were to start with action, showing a main character doing something. So it starts with your main character. I gulped my milk, pushed away from the table, and bolted out the kitchen, slamming the broken door behind. I mean, right away with that kind of language, gulped, pushed, bolted, slamming, we know that there's some excitement. The character's moving quickly, and now we need to find out why he's moving quickly. I ran to our dock as fast as my legs could carry me. My feet pounded on the old wood, hurrying me toward my dad's voice. "Scott," he bellowed again. "Coming, Dad," I gasped. I couldn't see him yet, just the sails of the boats that had already put out into the lake for the day. So something's up. We don't know what it is, but I'll tell you what, the writer got my attention. So this is kind of a combination of action and dialogue. Let's just look at the dialogue. So you could also start your story this way. The father's talking first. "Scott, get down here on the devil," Dad bellowed. His voice sounded far away. "Dad?" I hollered. "Where are you?" I squinted through the screen door, but I couldn't see him. "I'm down on the dock. Move it. You're not going to believe this," he replied. Notice that every word counts in that dialogue. It's not, "Hi, how are you? What's your name? How are you doing? What do you want to do? I don't know." That kind of dialogue is meaningless in a story. Here we get a sense that there's urgency, something's happened, and there's a lot of excitement going on. The other way you might want to start your story is with what we call a reaction, and this involves getting into the mind of your character a little bit more and sharing your character's thoughts. So here in this last possibility, reaction, let's see what our character Scott is thinking. "I couldn't imagine why my father was hollering for me at 7 in the morning. This is unusual to happen, obviously. I thought fast about what I might have done to get him so riled." You know, having the Scott react this way and using this word riled shows that he senses something in his father's voice. Now, we don't hear what the father says if you start your story this way, but Scott heard something, and he can tell there's something in his dad's voice. Had he found out about the way I talked to my mother the night before when we got to the camp and she asked me to help unpack the car? Did he discover the fishing reel I broke last week? And before I could consider a third possibility, Dad's voice shattered my thoughts. "Scott, move it! You're not going to believe this." Okay, boom. And now we know that something's up. And if we were to continue to read the story, we'd actually find out what was down there. Okay? So, when you write your lead, I'm going to ask that you experiment in your writer's notebook. You can pull up this resource if you like again, and I'm going to ask that you go ahead and experiment and try to write 3 different leads for your opening. And they're not long, they're short like this. So try writing an action lead, try writing a dialogue lead, and try writing a reaction lead. And there's a little note at the bottom here that says, when beginning a story, craft several leads, experiment. A lead you love will fuel you as a writer. Choose the way in that makes you, choose the one that makes you happiest. It will make your readers happy too. So this is kind of a strategy idea too. When you're writing drafts, you know, it's okay to experiment with a couple of things here and there, because then you have possibilities that you can go back to and refer to later. All right, so again, in your writer's notebook, you're going to go ahead and try writing 3 different leads for your story. If that comes rather easy to you and there's plenty of time left during writing time today, then you're going to go ahead and just continue to draft your story. Just move forward in your story and see how that goes. So you're doing this in your writer's notebook, and I'm really excited that we're doing this fiction unit, and I can tell you guys are really ready to use your imaginations and get going with your story. So have fun with that.